and welcome to the channel. My name is Anna Maria and this is the 29th episode I'm doing in a series about the witch trials. And in today's episode I will talk about the Baden-Baden witch trials and the Ellwangen witch trials. I will do a shorter overview of them both. I will link the other ones down below. I will remind everyone that the witch trials were brutal. And some of the themes I will take up can be distressing, especially when it comes to the punishments for the accused, so a warning for the episode. This trial was between 1627 and 1631. It was a big trial and we don't know exactly how many people that were executed, but we do know it was over 200 people. It was in the middle of the huge witch hunts that was in Germany and Europe at this time, and it was also in the middle of the 30 Years' War. The witch trials were also affected by the Counter-Reformation, where the Jesuits tried to get the area Catholic again. But it's not documented if that had a heavy impact on the executed in the witch trials. In 1627, a doctor called Martin Echbach, sorry for pronunciation, started an investigation into witchcraft in Baden-Baden. Martin was seen as an expert on witchcraft and therefore deemed trustworthy for this. People started to get arrested and interrogated. They were asked for as much information as possible and then tortured to give out names of others. In this case, at least 15 names had to be given. And that led to a massive amount of people getting arrested. The most common execution method was burning at the stake. The trial stopped in 1631 and it's said that it was because the Swedish army was closing in on the area. But we know that the area was not occupied by the Swedish army in 1631, but the authorities in Baden seems to have believed that was the case. But this is unconfirmed. This trial took place between 1611 and 1618. It was another trial before this in 1588 where around 20 people were executed. But in this later one, 430 people were executed for witchcraft. So this was a massive jump up in executions. This area was religiously unstable at the time, and this affected the trials. A woman was arrested in 1611 because she was accused of blasphemy against the communion. She was tortured and during this she was confessing to performing witchcraft. She was also forced to give out names of others. Then they were arrested and tortured and forced to give out names of others, and so on. This went into a circle of arrests and torture. One person mentioned in the lengthy records is a woman called Elizabeth Schott. She was an old widow and she was arrested, thrown into a dungeon, heavily tortured and then burnt in 1611 for witchcraft. The Prince Bishop, with help of the Witch Commission, changed the law so that the trials were easier to perform, so they just went on. In 1618, this had led to a catastrophe. Where the economy was in shambles, it was an imbalance in the population and the people didn't trust the authorities. So the witch trials basically stopped. There is today a memorial for the victims of the witch trials in Ellwangen that was made in 2001. And that was all for this episode about the witch trials in Baden-Baden and Ellwangen. In the next episode I will talk about the Sobere Jackal witch trials or the Salzburg witch trials. If you like this episode, please like, comment and subscribe. It will help out the channel a lot and I will see you in the next one.